In this week's episode, everybody, it's all about the ongoing work on the engine box companionway steps and the gas installation. There has been a heck of a lot of work over the last few weeks, and I'm not going to be able to show you all of that work in this episode. Suffice to say, there was a lot of work involved in getting those steps made up, fitted properly, and some other associated work, like fitting the engine starter switch. And with the gas, a lot more work involved, surprise, surprise. I've had the gas fitter here twice, thankfully giving me a bit of direction on what I can do and what he needs to do. Hopefully he'll be back soon to finish that off. But there was a lot more work beyond making just the locker, and that will all be explained along the way. I can say, kind of unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to start removing some of these post-it notes because, as mentioned, there was a heck of a lot of work that I needed to do because the work involved in these steps and the gas has taken a heck of a lot of time. We will get back to removing post-it notes in the next episode, which I am really excited about because there'll be a lot to remove. In the meantime, tune in for the great work continuing on that engine box companionway steps and the gas installation. A thank you to all you good patrons. Thanks everybody for watching. Please help me out by liking, subscribing, and it would be great if you could consider becoming a patron. Also, I have added to my website, so it'd be great if you could check that out as well. Well, as you've seen, I've been making up that engine box and also working on those 3 steps that will be fixed to it. But there's also another part of the puzzle, which is the very top step. Now that's not going to be fixed to that engine box itself. This will be the very first step when you step through the companionway hatch. And this I wanted to make wider as a really decent and safe spot to be able to step into from the cockpit heading down below. So for that reason, I've made it wider. But what it does mean is all of those boards, the rosewood boards that I bought, they come in 150 millimeters or 6 inches wide. And so that wasn't going to be enough in one plank. So I've machined up another piece and the grain blends in beautifully. And these were not the same board. So this has come out really nice. This was my last board. And as it turns out, that grain blends in. I've got to thank someone, right? Now I don't need the full width of this. So I will be cutting this down. So I'll take a piece off, but I've allowed for making a rebate in each of these so that they can lap over each other, and I'll bond them with epoxy and biscuits. It's more of the little things. As we all know, the little things in life can mean a lot. So what I'm referring to here is, in regards to the engine start panel, that needs to be mounted somewhere, of course. I always intended for that to be mounted below decks, and for a few good reasons. I know that a lot of boats have the ignition up in the cockpit. There's good reasons for that, but at the same time, as with everything in life, there's pros and cons. Now that I've got that engine box pretty much made up now, and I'm at the stage where I can put the insulation on, that's all cut up. In considering where I was going to put this panel, I've decided that that would be ideal on this side panel of the engine box. I've had a bit of a play with when that hinges up, whether that'll cause any problems for the panel, and it won't. So that's what I'm going to do. So now I can go ahead, mark out where this needs to go, cut that little window out of that side panel, put the insulation on, and then when I mix up some epoxy later, I'll get that cut out, all epoxied up. Well, now that that gas locker is all fiberglassed up, another thing I have to do is put the drain in. I've got these through-hole fittings. They're made of acetyl plastic. I did check out the different types of plastics. There's three main ones, being nylon, polypropylene and acetyl. And so if you have a look here, you can see instead of it being round, I've actually trimmed off the bottom. And that's so that I can get this to sit right down on the bottom of that locker. The reason being, of course, that LP gas is heavier than air, and you want the drain to be at the lowest point. And on the hull, I've got the same fitting, and they'll be joined with a bit of reinforced hose. And also to say, in terms of the size, that is per regulation, so they stipulate that they should be 25 millimeters or 1 inch on the ID inside diameter. So that ticks that box, and I've lined up the gas fitter, so I'll be doing as much as I can, which means getting that locker completely sealed, get the drain in, get that copper hose put in place all the way to the stove there, fit the gas sensor and alarm, and at the locker end of that gas pipe, get the automatic solenoid shut-off valve and regulator fitted. The gas fitter will then come, join everything up, do his inspection, and fingers crossed, I get the certificate. And that's a wrap for this episode, people. As mentioned in the intro, there is a lot coming up in the next episode. Please join me then. So what I've got to start with is this regulator solenoid. And of course, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't. Click the bell so you get the notifications. Check out my website. And as I always say, leave a comment because I like reading what you have to say.